There is a thought you have had more times than you can count that you have never said to anyone. Not because it is dark, not because it is shameful, because it is true real. Because the gap between that thought and the life you are currently living is wide enough that speaking it out loud would force you to confront exactly how wide it is. It is the thought about what you are actually capable of, the quiet knowing, not hope, not fantasy. Knowing that there is a version of your intelligence, your perception, your inner life that has barely been touched by the life you have been living so far. You have felt it in glimpses, in the moments between sleep and waking when the noise hasn't started yet, in the middle of an ordinary conversation when a thought arrives that is so precise, so complete, so far ahead of what the conversation is about that you file it away before anyone can see it on your face. Today, April 15th, the universe has built the precise astronomical conditions for that version of your mind to speak. Mercury and Neptune meet in exact conjunction in Aries, the planet of thought and the planet of spiritual perception in direct contact, opening a channel between your ordinary conscious mind and the deeper intelligence that has been running underneath it your entire life. Most people will never know today was different. You already do. Comment "The channel is open" below to confirm this intention once and for all. Let me tell you what today has actually felt like, not what it should feel like. What it has felt like since the moment you woke up. There was something off about the quality of this morning. Not bad off, just different. The usual mechanism that snaps you into clarity when you open your eyes. The one that orients you, assigns you to your life, hands you your to-do list and your identity and your list of things to worry about. It was slower today, less certain. Like it took an extra few seconds to fully load, and in those extra seconds before the noise rushed back in, something was there. You may not remember exactly what it was, a fragment of a dream that carried an emotional weight you couldn't explain by its content. A thought that arrived complete and fully formed before you had consciously generated it. A sense, quiet, almost embarrassing in its certainty, that something today was going to matter in a way you couldn't yet articulate. Most people dismiss that. They call it grogginess, they call it a slow start. They make the coffee and they open the phone and they bury it under the first wave of information the day delivers. Carl Jung spent decades documenting precisely this experience. He wrote that the influence of celestial configurations on the human mind are, in his exact words, not poetry, not metaphor, technical observation, nothing but unconscious, introspective perceptions of the collective unconscious. What you felt this morning was not imagination. It was reception. Your unconscious already knew what your conscious mind is only now beginning to understand. The channel was already open when you woke up. To understand what is actually happening in the sky today, you need to know who these two planetary forces actually are. Not the astrological definition, the mythological one, because the myth is where the real meaning lives. Mercury, in Roman tradition, Hermes to the Greeks, was not simply the messenger of the gods. He was the only being in the entire pantheon who could move freely between all three worlds. The realm of the living, the underworld of the dead, the domain of the gods. Every other deity was fixed to their realm. Mercury alone crossed without restriction. He was the translator between worlds, the force that made communication possible across distances that were supposed to be impassable. Neptune, Poseidon, ruled not just the sea but the dissolution of all fixed forms. Water has no shape of its own. It takes the shape of whatever contains it. Neptune's power was never force or authority or conquest. It was permeability, the quiet, absolute removal of the wall between what is visible and what is felt, between the surface and the depth, between what the conscious mind believes it knows and the vast field of intelligence that moves beneath it. When these two forces meet in exact conjunction, the translator of worlds and the dissolver of walls, what forms is not a metaphor, it is a mechanism. Carl Jung described the celestial configurations as the starry vault of heaven, the open book of cosmic projection in which are reflected the mythologems, the archetypes. Today, the archetype of the crosser of worlds and the archetype of the dissolved boundary are occupying the same degree of sky. For the first time this year, they are in direct contact, and what they have opened between them is the specific channel that runs from your ordinary waking mind all the way down to the intelligence your soul has been trying to speak to you through your entire life. That channel does not stay open indefinitely. Mercury moves on. The conjunction narrows. What is available today is not available in the same way tomorrow. Let me give you the precise mechanics of what is happening. Because once you understand the actual structure of today, the urgency stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like information. Mercury entered Aries yesterday. Within 24 hours, it has already moved into exact conjunction with Neptune at 3 degrees of the sign. That is not slow. That is Mercury operating at full Aries velocity. No hesitation, no deliberation, straight into the most spiritually charged planetary contact of the month. In Aries, Mercury does not hedge. It does not wait for certainty before it moves. It acts at the speed of impulse, thinks at the speed of instinct, and communicates with the directness of someone who has run out of patience for anything that isn't the complete truth. That is the vessel the conjunction is working through today, a mind that is fast, unfiltered, and for once in this transit sequence, not being asked to restrain itself. It is being asked to receive. Neptune sits at 3 degrees of Aries. In astrological terms, Neptune is the great dissolver, the planetary force that removes the membrane between ordinary waking consciousness and the deeper field of spiritual intelligence that surrounds and permeates physical reality. Most of the time that membrane is thick, necessary. You cannot navigate daily life if the full depth of your unconscious knowing is running simultaneously with your surface awareness. The membrane keeps the signal manageable. Today, Mercury is sitting on top of that membrane, in the same degree, in direct contact. And what happens when the planet of communication makes exact contact with the planet of dissolved boundaries is something astrologers identify as one of the most psychically conductive windows in the entire calendar year. Sensitivity spikes, imagination floods, intuition sharpens to a precision that ordinary thought cannot manufacture. The things that can be known only through feeling, only through the body, only through the specific quality of inner knowing that arrives before language. Those things surface today with unusual clarity and unusual force. But here's what most people miss entirely. This conjunction is happening 2 days before Thursday's new moon conjunct Chiron, inside a 7-planet stellium in Aries, the most concentrated initiatory lunation in years. And what you bring to that new moon, the depth of understanding, the precision of your intention, the soul-level intelligence, informing what you ask the stellium to build, is determined by what you receive today. Mercury Conjunct Neptune is not a side event. It is the briefing before the mission, the download before the launch, the universe delivering the intelligence you need before Thursday fires. What you receive today changes what Thursday builds. This is not the first time this channel is opened, and the people who learned how to receive it really receive it, without immediately subjecting what arrived to the scrutiny of a rational mind that wasn't built to evaluate soul-level intelligence. Those people left records. William Blake, poet, mystic, visionary. He described receiving entire poems fully formed, not composed, received, transcribed rather than written. He said the source was not his own mind. He had Mercury Conjunct Neptune natally. He understood that his job was not to generate but to stay still enough for the transmission to complete. Edgar Cayce, the most documented psychic in recorded history, delivered thousands of detailed medical and spiritual readings while in a specific altered state he described as existing between waking and sleeping, precisely the state Neptune governs, precisely the state today's conjunction creates. His conscious mind was not involved. He learned to step out of its way. Tesla reported his greatest inventions arriving complete, not developed through logic, but seen whole, in vision, without effort of rational process. He said the work of the engineer was not creation but reception, getting the mind quiet enough for what was already complete in some other dimension to become visible in this one. These were not extraordinary people with extraordinary access. They were people who had learned the one thing today is asking of you: how to be still when the channel opens, how to trust what arrives without immediately demanding it justify itself to the part of the mind that wasn't invited into the conversation. The channel that ran through those lives is open in yours right now. The only question is whether you will treat it the way they did. Before we go into the sign-by-sign activations, I want to do something I have not done before in this space. I want to speak the transmission itself, not about it, through it, because Mercury Conjunct Neptune does not deliver information you read about in a video. It delivers information you receive directly, in the body, in the quiet, in the space between one thought and the next, where the noise hasn't filled in yet. So let me give you the direct version. You already know the answer to the question you keep asking. You have known it for longer than you have been willing to act on it. What you have been calling confusion is not confusion about what is true. It is resistance to what is true. Because what is true requires something of you that the comfortable version of your life has been quietly and successfully avoiding. The clarity is not coming. It is already here. It has been here. You have been walking past it every day, the way you walk past something in your own home that has been sitting in the same place so long you stop seeing it. Today, the membrane is thin enough that you cannot pretend you cannot feel it. What needs to change, you already know. What needs to be released, you already know. What needs to begin. The version of your life that has been waiting behind every reasonable excuse you have given yourself for why now is not the right time. You already know that too. The channel is not delivering new information. It is delivering the courage to stop pretending the information hasn't already arrived. That is what Mercury Conjunct Neptune opens in the chosen one, who is still enough to receive it. Now I need to tell you what happens to the person who doesn't receive this. Not to frighten you, because this is a prophetic message, and a prophetic message is only useful if it tells the complete truth, including the part most channels leave out because it is uncomfortable to say and uncomfortable to hear. Most people who encounter a Mercury-Neptune conjunction of this quality spend it in precisely the wrong way. They feel the heightened sensitivity of the transit, and they use it not to receive what the channel is delivering, but to amplify what they were already running. Their anxiety becomes more vivid, their rumination becomes more elaborate. Their social media consumption becomes more compulsive, because every scroll gives the overstimulated Neptune field something to attach to. They spend the day feeling everything and understanding nothing. And here is the specific cost of that. Thursday's new moon arrives. The 7-planet stellium perfects, the most powerful initiatory lunation in years, opens, and they bring to it the same understanding of their situation they had before today, because the Mercury-Neptune window that was available to update that understanding, to deliver the soul-level intelligence that could have changed what they asked the new moon to build. That window passed, unacknowledged, wasted, filled with noise before it could complete its delivery. Carl Jung wrote about exactly this. In his work on receiving from the unconscious rather than generating, he was precise and he was unsparing. He wrote, "Fantasies are no substitute for living. They are the fruits of the spirit that come to the person who honors life." The key phrase is the person who honors life. Honoring the Mercury-Neptune window is an act of honoring the intelligence that moves through your life. Wasting it, filling the channel with noise before it can deliver what it came to deliver, is not a neutral act. It is a specific form of self-abandonment, and its specific consequence is arriving at the most powerful new moon of the year, with intentions built on the same incomplete understanding you had before the briefing was offered. That is not the person watching this video. You stayed, which means the channel is still open. So let's talk about where it lands in your chart. The Mercury-Neptune conjunction does not land the same way in every chart. The channel is open for all 12 signs today, but what it is transmitting, where it is delivering its intelligence, and the one specific practice that keeps it open longest is different depending on where this conjunction falls in your life. Here is yours. Aries, Mercury and Neptune are moving through your first house today. your own sign, your own identity. The channel is not delivering information about your circumstances or your relationships or your direction. It is delivering information about you, the version of yourself that has been forming underneath the performance of who you have needed to be for everyone else. The one that exists before the editing begins. Your practice today, before the day ends, sit in silence for 5 minutes and ask nothing. No questions, no requests. Simply wait. What surfaces in that silence without being summoned is the transmission. Taurus, the conjunction activates your 12th house of hidden wisdom and subconscious knowing. The channel today is completing a delivery that has been in progress for months, a clarity about something that has been opaque, a resolution of something that has had no logical solution. It will not arrive as a thought. It will arrive as a feeling of something releasing in the body. Tension that has been present so long, you stopped noticing it, simply not being there anymore. At release is the transmission landing. Pay attention tonight. Gemini, your 11th house of soul community and collective belonging is activated today. The channel delivers a clarity about who is genuinely moving in the same direction as you, and who has been moving alongside you out of habit, history, or comfort rather than genuine alignment. This is not a call to action, it is simply sight. Your practice. Notice who comes to mind today in the quiet moments without being prompted. That name is not random. It is information the channel is delivering directly. Cancer, Jupiter is in your sign, and today it amplifies the Neptune reception beyond any other sign in the zodiac. The channel opens in your 10th house of life direction and public mission. What arrives today about your path is not a small adjustment. It is a recalibration of the entire heading, your practice. Before you sleep tonight, write one sentence beginning with the words, "What I am actually here to do is," do not think about it first. Write the first thing that arrives. That sentence is the transmission. Leo, the conjunction activates your 9th house of belief systems and the philosophical ceiling you have placed on your own life. The channel today is not delivering new information about what is possible. It is dissolving a specific belief about who gets to have what is possible, about whether someone with your specific history, your specific wounds, your specific starting point is allowed to arrive at the destination you have been privately mapping for years. Your practice. Allow yourself today, just today, to want what you actually want without immediately making it smaller. Feel the full size of it. That feeling is the transmission. Virgo. Your 8th house of deep psychology, hidden contracts, and the unconscious agreements that govern your surface life is the active channel today. Mercury Neptune here is precise and it is surgical. It is delivering authority about one specific dynamic, one relationship, one pattern, one place in your life where you have been operating under an agreement you never consciously made. Your practice. Notice today which interaction leaves you feeling smaller than you were before it began. That shrinking is the channel pointing at something specific. Write it down before you rationalize it away. Libra. The conjunction falls in your 7th house of significant partnerships today. The most personally activating placement in your entire chart for this transit. The channel is delivering a clarity about the balance or the imbalance of a specific one-on-one connection in your life. Not dramatically, quietly, with the specific quality of seeing something clearly that you have been choosing not to look at directly. Your practice. Notice today the moment you adjust yourself for someone else, not what you adjust, simply the moment you do it. That moment is the transmission. Scorpio. Your 6th house of daily life, physical body, and the invisible architecture of how you actually spend your energy is activated today. Neptune here dissolves the normalization, the process by which you stop noticing something that should be noticed. Your practice. Pay attention today to what makes your body feel heavy without a clear external reason. Not sad, not tired. Heavy. The specific heaviness that has no obvious source is Neptune pointing at something your conscious mind has been successfully avoiding. Write it down. Do not analyze it yet. Simply record it. Sagittarius. The conjunction activates your 5th house of creative expression and authentic joy today. The channel is delivering the missing piece, the specific image, the specific sentence, the specific idea that unlocks something that has been almost ready for months but has not yet arrived, complete. It will not announce itself as important when it comes. It will arrive quietly, almost casually, in the gap between two ordinary thoughts. Your practice. Carry something to write with today. Do not trust your memory with what Neptune delivers. It arrives once and it does not repeat. Capricorn. Your fourth house of emotional foundation and private inner world is the active channel today, the deepest, most protected part of your chart. The part you show no one. The channel is not asking you to show it. It is asking you to look at it yourself. Honestly, without the performance of competence and endurance you maintain for every other audience, your practice. Ask yourself one question today that you have been carefully not asking. Not out loud. Internally, allow the first answer to stand without immediately restructuring it into something more manageable. That first answer is the transmission, Aquarius. Your third house of communication, the voice, and the relationship between what you know privately and what you express publicly is activated today. The channel is delivering language, the specific words for something you have been carrying as a feeling for months without being able to articulate it. Your practice. Write for 10 minutes today without stopping and without editing. Do not decide in advance what you are writing about. Simply write. The thing you have been trying to say would arrive somewhere in those 10 minutes. You will recognize it the moment it appears because it will feel like relief. Pisces. Neptune is your ruling planet. Today it is in direct contact with Mercury in the same degree of sky. Of all 12 signs, the channel today belongs most completely to you. Your entire perceptive field is operating at maximum sensitivity. The risk is not that you will miss the transmission. The risk is that you will mistake Neptune's fog for Neptune's signal. That you will receive impressions, feelings, and intuitions and be unable to distinguish between genuine soul-level intelligence and the projections of a nervous system that is simply highly stimulated. Your practice. Before you act on any strong feeling today, ask yourself one question. Is this something I know or something I want to be true? The honest answer to that question is the most important practice available to you right now. Before I close, I want to take a moment here, because this community has done something this week that I want to acknowledge directly and genuinely. You showed up for the timeline shift on the 9th. You showed up for the soulmate portal on the 11th. You stayed through the transmission briefing on the 12th. You received the Mercury warning on the 14th, and you are here now on the 15th sitting inside a Mercury-Neptune conjunction and choosing to understand it rather than waste it. That is not passive consumption, that is active participation in your own awakening. And I do not take it lightly. What is being built in this space across this week is a single coherent sequence. Not individual videos, but a preparation architecture for the most powerful new moon of the year, and the people who have stayed with it from the beginning are arriving at Thursday with a depth of context that changes what they are capable of asking for. If you are new here and you have not subscribed, do it now. Not for the algorithm, because Thursday is 48 hours away, and what the new moon delivers builds directly on everything this week has been laying down. You do not want to arrive at the most concentrated lunation of the year without the full picture. Drop your zodiac sign below. I want to see who the universe gathered here today for this specific transmission. Every single one of you who stayed this far deserves to be seen. Let me tell you what the Mercury-Neptune conjunction leaves behind when it is genuinely received. Not a feeling that fades by Friday, not a mood that evaporates when the transit ends and the ordinary world rushes back in with its noise and its demands and its insistence that what cannot be measured cannot be real. What Neptune delivers when the channel is honored lands beneath all of that. Below thought. Below analysis. Below the part of the mind that will spend tomorrow morning trying to logic check what arrived today and decide whether it counted. It lands in the soul's knowing. The layer that does not forget, that does not revise, that does not negotiate with convenience, and it stays there permanently. Carl Jung wrote something near the end of his life that has never left me since I first encountered it. He said, "We are born at a given moment in a given place, And like vintage years of wine, we have the qualities of the year and of the season in which we are born. What he understood, what decades of studying the relationship between the sky and the human psyche taught him, is that the moments we move through are not neutral. They have qualities, flavors. Some moments produce ordinary wine, some produce something that cannot be replicated, because the precise conditions that created it will never combine in exactly that way again. Today is one of those moments, not because it is the most dramatic day of the week. Thursday holds that distinction, but because what today produces, quietly, in the space between thoughts, in the channel between your conscious mind and the deeper intelligence that has been waiting your entire life for you to get still enough to hear it. What today produces is the specific vintage that Thursday's new moon needs to build something real. You received it today. Maybe not all of it. Maybe just the first layer. But the first layer is enough to change what you bring to Thursday. And what you bring to Thursday changes what the next 6 months become. So here is your only instruction between now and Thursday's new moon. Do not fill the space where the transmission is still completing. Do not rush to make the knowing into language before it is ready. Do not explain what you received to someone who wasn't in the channel with you. Because what Neptune delivers cannot survive the scrutiny of someone who wasn't tuned to the same frequency. Simply carry it. Quietly. Carefully. The way you carry something that is still forming, not gripping it so tightly you crush it, not holding it so loosely you lose it. Just carrying it. Thursday will tell you what to do with it. And if you are still here, still watching, I genuinely appreciate you more than you know. Not casually. Genuinely, the fact that you stayed through all of it tells me something precise about the quality of attention you bring to your own life. And that quality, that willingness to sit inside the difficult, the uncertain, the not yet fully formed, is exactly what the Mercury-Neptune conjunction was looking for when it opened today. The channel found the right receiver. Drop your sign below. Thursday is close. The transmission is complete.